Good morning, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name is Max, and to my left, as always, is
JJ.
Good to see you, JJ.
Good to be here, Max.
How was your week?
How was my week? Not very productive.
Oh. Okay. Last week, one of the games we talked about was Yoshi for the NES, an uninspired puzzler, I would argue. And one thing we didn't mention when we were discussing the game was that it was developed by
Game Freak,
who is famous for
Pokemon.
So that inspired us to take a look at some other early Game Freak games. Maybe we should dive right into Game Freak's first ever game, which is
Mendel Palace.
Okay, Mendel Palace for the NES.
Mendel Palace is really quite a curious game. It's very, I think, iconic of its time. There was a time in which there was like a lot of these kind of like weird sort of grid-based puzzle games, you know, like Kickle Cubicle and Adventures of Lolo.
Kickle Cubicle?
Are you unfamiliar with Kickle Cubicle? It's a fantastic game.
It's not, who pronounces it Kickle Cubicle?
How do you call it?
Kickle Cubicle.
No, it's cubicle. Did you say I work in a cubicle at the office?
Does he work in a cubicle in the game?
Yeah, it's a cube-based environment. Anyway, the point is that there was a lot of games of that sort in the NES's early life, I guess because it was easy for the NES to process, you know, sort of one-screen-based games. It's a game based around the idea of you flip tiles over in order to push characters into the wall. So I suppose it's sort of like Smash Brothers meets Lolo or something like that. It's a very sort of unique mechanic. I mean, you've never really seen any game that has a sort of gameplay similar to this one at all. And as you flip the tiles, you know, you reveal other kinds of tiles, and sometimes there's bonus tiles under the floor. Well, they had to do a lot of sort of interesting marketing to make this game seem palatable in the first place. I mean, this Mendel Palace was not the American name, right? In Japan, it was called Quinty.
This is the art for Quinty.
Yes, very cute, very cuddly.
It accurately represents the characters. Like the diver looks like almost identical. Same thing with the sumo wrestler there.
Yeah.
I love the typography for Quinty with the nice like gradient, like
and with the little cap is the
I didn't
dot on
notice
the
that.
eye.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And then let's take a look at the Mendel Palace, and it's really different.
See, the interesting thing is that in those days, American artists operated on the premise that the sprites were supposed to be sort of stand-ins for more detailed characters, right? Whereas, like, in Japan, it was like, nope, those sprites are basically what they're supposed to look like. Everybody's supposed to look like little cuddly marshmallow people. But, you know, American artists, they look at the game like that and they think, well, clearly, you know, there's some subjectivity required here to sort of interpret what the game designers were trying to convey, and this is what they came up with, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so we have the commercial for Mendel Palace, and I believe this is the North American.
It plays up a sort of like scary angle to the game a lot more than I think
the game
actually has.
It's like trying to be like a horror game somehow.
Yeah, or at least like, you know, it has a heavily sort of fantasy element to it, kind of dreamlike.
I really like this where you have the animated silhouettes.
I just always appreciate an ad that has animated versions of characters.
So true. Yeah.
Right?
By Hudson Soft.
Ooh, that was
how nice is that? Animated Hudson Soft.
That was a nice touch at the end.
Now it is time for JJ versus the world. Last JJ versus the world, you tried to gain the world record for Yoshi,
and I came pretty close, if I recall correctly.
I think you made it about 1/200th of the way there. The world record for Mendel Palace is 481,100 points. The world record is held by Ryan W. Johnson.
Oh man, our old nemesis.
That's right. We should really just start calling this JJ versus Ryan W. Johnson.
Yes. I have a good feeling about this one.
Okay.
Okay, so I did pretty good.
49,900 some odd. Pretty good. Much better than last time. You got a tenth of the way there.
Yeah.
I think that record is actually kind of susceptible.
Yeah.
You know? I think you could do it. Well, maybe not you. But somebody out there. What is our next early Game Freak title? Oh, you have a choice. Which one would you like to do first?
Our next one is going to be Smart Ball. So, Smart Ball for the Super Nintendo. So, much like Mendel Palace, this is a game that had two different names depending on the country that you're in. In Japan, it was called Jerry Boy. You play as a prince who has been transformed into a blob man.
Right.
And this was part of the rich, sort of blob-based side-scrolling platform games of the mid-1990s. The idea with this game was that they were trying to create a character that would have a lot of different ways of moving around, you know, a character that could squirm through pipes and stick to the ceiling and, you know, cling to walls and all this kind of stuff, which is part of the gameplay. The moon level is very cool because it has the cool Mode 7 scrolling, so you sort of see a circular level. It has some fun character design. It has some fun bosses that are really quite clever. There's one boss where it's a bunch of birds flying in formation, and it's like that Escher drawing, and then sort of the negative space produces fish.
Oh, wow. So there was a sequel.
There was, yes. The sequel was never released, although you can download it and play it. This game is a lot less linear than the first one, because you can choose different levels, and you can also choose different characters, so it has a bit of a Mario 2 meets Mega Man 2 sort of vibe going on.
Oh, it looks so much better. Look at just like the fluidity of the animations.
Yeah.
Oh, he can jump properly. This is awesome. Here's an ad for Smart Ball. He's no dummy.
He's no dummy. If you love 16-bit action, you're not either.
All right.
That's very true.
So, in my internet travels, trying to find out information about Smart Ball, I came across a Jerry Boy tribute page.
Oh, look at him.
So yes, I see him. So there's some interesting stuff on here. There's a nice interview with Game Freak. There is sort of behind the scenes. You can see some actual design documents that Game Freak used. This is where you can find the Smart Ball or Jerry Boy manga. So you can see some scans of that.
Oh, look at how intense that is.
Oh yeah, totally.
Man. Jerry Girl.
That's right.
She's not in the game.
It was a special chapter in the collected edition of the Jerry Boy manga.
So only for serious Jerry Boy aficionados would be aware of this.
Oh yes. As avid viewers of our show know, we have a top 10 interview list. Top 10 people that we want to interview on the show, and I would like to nominate the author of the Jerry Boy tribute page. His name is listed right at the top, Chris Covell.
And rightfully so. I mean, you make something as impressive as this, you want your name on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. What kind of questions would you like to ask Chris Covell?
Well, I would be curious to know where the Jerry Girl character fits. Is she generally accepted as a canonical character, or was that manga perhaps sort of hand-waved as a dream sequence? I mean, I would like to know in his day-to-day conversation if he refers to the character as Jerry Boy or Smart Ball.
Agreed. Because he would be the authority. Right now, I don't know which to pick.
Well, he gives Jerry Boy top billing.
Well, it did come up first. Also, I noticed that the page is still under construction. I would ask him, what's coming next, man?
Yes.
I want to know what other information you have about Smart Ball. So we've talked about Mendel Palace, and we've talked about Smart Ball. So our final early Game Freak title is a Japan exclusive, and that is
Pulseman.
Okay, Pulseman for the Sega Genesis.
For the Sega Genesis, and only in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a game released in 1994. It has very colorful, very nice graphics, I think, for the Genesis.
Yeah.
So the story of this game is that in the distant, far-off future year of 1999, a programmer sort of has this is kind of a weird story, but he has some sort of love child with an AI creation that he's invented.
What?
And the ensuing sort of spawn is Pulseman, a man who is half human, half, computer, and he can travel through the cyberspace by turning into a pulse of pure electricity. And as the game progresses, this becomes a much more dominant aspect of gameplay, is turning into a little pulse of electricity and traveling through wires and whatnot. I mean, at times this game is quite a brazen ripoff of Sonic the Hedgehog in the sense that it's often based around running really, really fast and navigating sort of maze-based levels.
That move reminds me so much of, in Smash Brothers, Pikachu's Volt Tackle.
Yes, people have made that analogy. Pulseman supposedly went on to inspire a number of different Pokemon in his design as well as his moves. Another fun thing about this game is that there is a later level where you go to a sort of casino night zone, which is of course legally distinct from the casino night zone in Sonic, but the level is so over the top in its flashiness and its graphics that apparently children were getting seizures. So in the Virtual Console version, they've toned down the graphics quite a bit.
What?
Causing seizures among young children would not be something that Game Freak is unfamiliar with, because you may recall that the Pokemon cartoon had this same problem as well.
What a weird thing that they have caused. They have a reputation for causing seizures in young children.
And it's because of their obsession with electricity-based characters. You see, like, this is a little
Look
much.
at this.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
It's awesome, though, really. I mean, sorry if you're laying on the ground foaming at the mouth.
That should be intent.
We should have put a warning on this. Okay, so those are our 3 early Game Freak titles. Which one would you destroy, enjoy, cryogenically freeze for future generations?
Oh, God. Smart Ball, although I do have a soft spot for it, I feel like that one would have to be destroyed. I mean, from what I understand, it wasn't even particularly beloved by the people that made it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's fine. Like, conceptually, it's a strong game, but I think, Super Putty and Claymates perhaps does it better. Enjoy... I guess I would have to say Pulseman for Enjoy. Like, Pulseman is a decent game. I mean, it's playable, it's fun, it's not particularly inspired. I mean, I tend to like games that are more... more traditional platformy as opposed to, like, maze platformy, which I think is also a downside of Smart Ball as well. So, I mean, it's a decent game if you wanted to just play a side-scroller.
Sure, and I think Mendel Palace makes sense as something that you would want to cryogenically freeze for future generations. It's much more of a historical artifact because it's Game Freak's first game. Alright guys, well, thanks a lot for watching. That's it for us. Have a great weekend, and see you next week.